The right to offend is not some pesky little part of freedom of speech that we have to put up with. It is the heart and soul and lungs of freedom of speech. It is the coursing lifeblood of human progress. It is the instigator of liberty and modernity and science and understanding. What a laughing stock today's student leaders are, that they can so casually dismiss the right to be offensive without realizing that their lovely, enlightened lives are the gift of individuals who gave offense. Offensiveness is not just something we have to begrudgingly accept. Offensiveness is the motor of human progress.
I am so glad that those drums are so clean on that track, Sam. It sounds good that way.
Yeah, I agree with that, Max. And I just can't wait till we get the voiceover for that, because for the audio, for the people listening on audio, they're just hearing 2 minutes of music, but which is pretty dope in and of itself. I've actually listened to that track to get hyped up, and that
how many
monologue
podcasts out
is
there? How many podcasts out there? They don't even have a theme song that they actually own. They use copywritten music. Sam has more than one. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, that's you can't use copyrighted music anymore legally, otherwise you'll get
but so many podcasts do, especially outside the YouTube ecosystem, where it's a little more lax, See that a lot, where they're I'm just going to use somebody else's. And look, man, from the point of view of any artist that owns intellectual property, I know that a lot of people are oh, they get so mad about piracy. Actually, most of us don't even give a fuck about piracy unless it's rebroadcasting our music. You know what I mean? That is when a lot of artists will be like, bro, you know what I mean? It's one thing because I think a lot of people don't understand. That's literally taking a Hollywood film and saying, I'm just going to illegally screen this for my friends and not pay for it. It's literally the same thing, The
other podcast that I had, we had a band from the UK. I talked to them, and they let us use one of their songs as long as we credit them during the show, put it in the show notes, and we had a written agreement, and we were good.
Now, I'm not going to try and convince anybody to be super respectful of the Corpo's IP. But man, if it's independent artists, I'm just saying, if it's an independent artist of any kind and you're going to use their music, the best thing you can do is find them and just ask, and you'll be surprised.
Yep, that's what we did.
You would be surprised how willingly a lot of them will see it as promotion. So yeah, obviously, if Warner, I don't care if you pirate, you know what I mean, Warner Music or whatever. But at the end of the day, those artists are people too, and they're getting dicked around by the corpos as much as anybody. Yeah. And Sam, I talk a lot about the struggles of kind of the music industry not at the top end, right?
But
And I have an article that really is one, an absolute horror story, and two, deals with this exact topic. And I found it just before we came on. This was brought to my attention. So as a man of culture, Sam, are you familiar with Motown at all? You know?
Oh yeah, I'm a big Motown guy.
You know the Four Tops?
Yep.
Obviously, I mean, the Four Tops
Yeah.
is like one of those top tier Motown artists, right? And you know, they've been around a long time. Obviously, the original members would be a little old, right? And so a lot of these Motown acts, what they do is they continue touring into, you'd be surprised how old they get, and they still put on a hell of a fucking show. But
Oh yeah.
they get to the point where they only have one original member, right? Or two original members or something like that. And the Four Tops is basically that now, okay? So this man was brought in as a singer. He's a 53-year-old man. Alexander Morris is his name. He's taking on the role of essentially the lead singer of the Four Tops, okay? And he checks into a hospital. He calls an ambulance, okay, in the greater Detroit area, you know, in Michigan. And they bring him to the hospital having chest pains, okay? Turns out, you know, skipping the whole story part, just to give you like what's up with him, he didn't have a heart attack, although he does have serious heart problems that would even require a transplant at some point. So he was having a serious cardiac medical condition, right? And he told them who he was. If it's okay, Sam, I'll actually read through the article a little bit just to kind of set the scene, because
Sure.
Wrong. So Alexander Morris, 53, who is black, obviously, he's in the Four Tops, and joined the iconic vocal quartet in 2018. Went to, and I want to get this right so everybody knows exactly who the assholes are. Ascension Macomb Oakland Hospital, which is in Warren, which is just outside of Detroit, Michigan. It's where famously where Eminem's from. I know people think he's from Detroit. He's from Warren, which is like more of a suburb. And
Right.
so anyway, he went in on April 7th, 2023 with, quote, clear symptoms of cardiac distress. Yeah, difficulty breathing and chest pain. He was placed on oxygen, says the federal lawsuit. Right, so you can already tell this is not going well. He filed last Monday in the Eastern District of Michigan. However, when he informed a nurse and security guard in the emergency room that he was a member of the Four Tops and was on tour, and he had security concerns because of fans and potential stalkers, they not only didn't believe him, as the suit claims, instead, the emergency room doctor ordered a stop to all treatment and a psychological evaluation.
That's fucked.
Where he was put in restraints, including a straitjacket, for an hour and a half while he's having a fucking heart attack. Because they don't believe that he's a C, D, maybe even F tier celebrity. Are you fucking kidding me? Absolutely horrific. As a guy with a heart condition, and I know lots of people that would be of equal level of fame to him. And yes, if you're that level of famous, you do kind of have to deal with security issues like that, of like, hey, you know, I might have fans or stalkers who may show up, and I just, you know, you guys should be aware of that. Don't let them in. You know, let's have a only allow in people if I approve of them kind of thing. You have to say that, because otherwise, not only, I'll tell you what happens to a celebrity in the ER, because I've been in this situation on more than one occasion. Not only do the fans and stalkers show up, the fucking staff very often will start fanboying out rather than doing their fucking job. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean nurses and doctors, but usually security, you know, orderlies, yeah, even some of the nurses, and occasionally a doctor will just lose the situation apparently and not remember, hey, this is a medical emergency we're dealing with. And it's like, oh my God, can I get your autograph? I have literally heard, that situation happen while this, somewhat celebrity. I mean, they're not, that's the thing. If you're not A-list, that's why they didn't recognize him, right? So because he's not A-list and because he had just joined the group, and they literally told him he wasn't old enough to be a member of the Four Tops until he showed the nurse a video on YouTube of him performing at the fucking Grammys. Then that's when they put a stop to the psychological evaluation. But the whole time he was trying to show his ID to the one security guard, he claims that the security guard said, I want to get the quote correct here. Shut up and sit your crazy black ass down.
That's a no-no.
Wow.
So he's suing for $70,000 or more for negligence, racial discrimination, battery, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. And he's probably going to win. Oh, and one more thing. This is the best part. They did figure out that they fucked up, and they tried to offer him, in way of an apology, a $25 gift card to Walmart.
What the fuck?
Mm-hmm. This man came in having heart problems, and it turns out he has, I believe it's like congestive heart failure. And they stopped treatment on him and put him in a straitjacket, called him crazy, because he said who he was. But they wouldn't let him show ID. They wouldn't let him prove it. And they told him, shut up, crazy person. Amazing. This is, so like,
that
celebrity kind of sucks a lot of the time is the point.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if
it does.
Like, such a minor level of fame, I guess you could call it. Right? Because, I mean, their tour sells out. It's not like nobody knows who he is. But would you recognize one of the new members of the Four Tops? Probably not, unless you're a fan. So that's reasonable. It's reasonable that they didn't know who he was. But, man, like, to jump to that he's completely out of his mind, maybe you should just calm down first, right? See what's going on. And maybe... first thing, just take care of his heart problem that he clearly had.
Right?
Amazing.
Yeah. That would be a good thing to do. And this guy might also he might also need some help from today's sponsor of the program, Roid Rage. Got a pain in the rear or your gut marching out of step? Well, I'll tell you, Max. Say hello to Roid Rage. These gummies are like a salute to your digestive health, packed with fiber and magnesium. Whether you're a soldier or a couch warrior, Roid Rage has your six. Keep things moving and say goodbye. And say goodbye to hemorrhoids like a true patriot. These gummies are better known and proudly made in the USA. Support our troops while keeping your gut and behind in perfect formation. So, for smooth movements and happy rear, grab Roid Rage and march proudly. Stay awesome and keep those bells moving. Order today for 15% off your purchase. You're welcome.
That is
we just earned
amazing advertising right there. Like whoever wrote that bit,
that was great.
They deserve what they're getting paid. That was great.
Yeah, I tried to
There's
read
nothing
that
less patriotic than hemorrhoids, Sam.
Well, yeah, and ask Charlie Sheen about that. He would know.
That's right.
So, but yeah, But yeah, no, in all seriousness, that sucks that like that guy had to go through that. And that is kind of a segue into something I wanted to talk about because as of this past week, the episode with Karina Harney like hit 100 total plays across both Rumble and Spotify. And we've also had great feedback with our interview with Eric Bishop, who, like, granted, he's not, like, neither Karina or Eric are A-list celebrities, but they kind of are celebrities in their respective fields, obviously. And, I think one of the reasons why Right to Offend Media has been so successful or at least we have when interviewing people, is we let our guests speak like unfiltered, basically.
I mean, that's been the secret to all of our shows at this point, right? Is like, I certainly don't tell the girls what to say. My God, I couldn't have. I don't have that much imagination. Morpheus and the boys, I find out what they're going to talk about when everybody else does, usually.
Good like trying to shut more up.
Yeah. So, everybody kind of just speak from the heart. That's kind of been like,
well,
Rumble's kind of been a key to that success. Because we don't have to worry so much. Like we've joked about this before, where you can't say certain words. You have to use replacement words on YouTube, and then they figure out those and ban those too. So it's like my favorite is true crime podcasts or whatever on YouTube. That's the funniest thing in the world to me.
That up so bad.
Because they can't tell you what happened. They're like, there was a situation where one person unalived the other person.
Somebody.
And it's like, there's a lot of ways to unalive somebody. Not all of them are bad.
Or my favorite term is they just use the term like self-harm for suicide when it's like,
it's a bit more than harm.
Like,
it's a bit more than fucking harm.
It's like, trust me, I'm not making fun of people who, self-harm themselves.
No, we're making
that's
fun of
not good
YouTube.
either. But like, there's a big difference between like there's a major difference between like an emo girl like cutting themselves and someone
actual
like
suicide.
Yeah.
They're not even in the same ballpark.
No.
It's crazy. You can't talk about anything like related to, murders or suicides or any deaths, basically, just generally, unless somebody died peacefully of old age. And it's like, how do you do a true crime?
That kind of doesn't happen in true crime.
Well, it's not even that. It's like someone was asking. Someone asked today on X. They're like, "We have a mental health crisis. In this country? Why is no one talking on it?" And it's like, well, because if you try, you're gonna get censored for even talking about it or using words that might not, be approved.
The less clear and specific communication that you're using, the worse, as far as I've always been concerned. That's because now you're again conflating, let's say, the 15-year-old emo girl that cuts herself, right, with a veteran, okay, who decides he's going out on his own terms. Those aren't the same thing. They're not even close to the same thing. And to put them on the same level is actually, I would argue, bad for the mental health of that girl. Right?
I agree.
Who's already clearly needs, some intervention because she's cutting. Now you're telling her what she's doing is equivalent to actual suicide. And it's like, how can this be beneficial to anyone to not use clear and specific language? I just don't get it. And I think a lot of people are turning on YouTube just over that. Unalived is a meme now. People say that because they're afraid to talk on other platforms too. YouTube has, we think in language and we speak in language, right? And so when you can get people to think in YouTubeisms, you can get that to be the new language. And that's what they've done. So now it's self-deletion and soft terms. They're all meant to be soft terms for things that aren't fucking soft.
There's a reason why Mort doesn't do mixing of language on X. Here,
no, you
the gaming podcast. You get my fucking thoughts 100% unfucking filtered. If you don't like it, that's a fucking you problem, not a Mort problem.
I love when everybody used to think Mort was just the quiet, nice one. Now it's like, oh, Mort actually will stand up for what he cares about. I think that shocks people as if you've changed.
Yeah, I'm quiet for the most part. Just don't fucking piss Mort off.
I think honestly it's all the cat meme. I think it's all the, and I'm not being mean, Mort. I think it's all the overlord.
Oh, absolutely. It's the juxtaposition between the fucking cat memes and all the wholesome content I post on fucking Twitter, X, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
But
and then the ultra base.
No, but
fuck you. I'm gonna say what I feel. Type.
Well, no, dude. Like I'm not even criticizing you, but like I've seen you post cute cat memes, and then a minute later, you're literally telling the Krasny brothers to eat fucking shit. So
true.
Because those fuckers deserve to eat fucking shit.
Also, one of my favorite parts of Twitter these days.
Disingenuous fucking cunts.
Also, I know we were talking about it before we went on, but I want to mention it. Twitter, X, Elon, whatever. Stop banning fucking Craig. Jesus. Just stop banning the engineer. He didn't do anything. I guarantee. I hear Craig get banned, and I don't even need to know what happened to know he didn't do anything wrong. He might push boundaries. He might go right up against the line, but I know he didn't break any fucking rule. I know it.
I'd be more like that.
People.
Rules.
So I have notifications turned on for Craig, and people are like, why? Why? He tweets all the time, like, rest in peace, your notifications. And people are like, why? And I'm like, because of this particular reason, because if he ever gets banned, I'll know because my notifications for Craig will just stop.
Well, the other thing is he posts a lot of shit that amuses me. I do this. I have his shit turned on too, and half the time I'm retweeting it with him. Yeah, it's so infuriating that he gets banned when you see half the shit that goes on that site, and you're like, "Oh, so Nick Fuentes is fine."
Yeah,
Nick Fuentes is fine. The fucking Krasensteins are fucking fine. You're gonna fucking take down fucking engineer Craig. Bull fucking shit.
Yeah, all these like pro Hamas accounts threatening to kill people. That's fine. You know, everything's fine except Craig.
Well, hey, you know, if Craig gets banned though, that disproves what the gripers have been saying out, like Nick Fuentes getting discriminated against, right? Because like they're the gripers, for those who don't know, their latest thing is they're mad because Nick won't get a verified check mark, and they're claiming that like Elon is in the
that they won't give it to him. Is that what they're saying? He can't, bro. If he pays $8, he'll get the fucking check mark. Tell me anything else, you're lying. Because some of the people like David Duke had a fucking check mark because he paid the $8. So you fucking break. Manufactured persecution. Hey, if you're a griper and you're watching us right now, why?
Griper's not mad.
But just know that this persecution that y'all are making up is literally fake. It's literally fake. You know how I know it's fake? Sam, I have friends that walked near the fucking Capitol building, and by near I mean like 100 yards away, and they got like, I mean, at least in one case, Playboy the Beast, famously 6 months in jail. You know who never got talked to about it? You know who's never been mentioned? The guy that went in the fucking Capitol building and told everybody to go in the Capitol building. I wonder why. It's not the people watching after Fuentes are very much on the left. You notice the left, like, you'll see the low level leftists that will talk shit about the Groypers or whatever, like the low tier people. But notice you'll never see anybody in any position of authority on the left or any status at all. They're not going to mention him at all. That's because he's one of their guys. And listen to what he said. I mean, he just told everybody not to vote for Trump. Did you hear that?
I did.
Yeah, I did.
So apparently, and here's the obvious logic. Well, Trump was pro-Israel. That's it. That's the logic. He hates Jews. He hates Jews, and Biden doesn't. Biden is in a tough spot because Biden, on the one hand, wants to help the large part of his party that's pro-Israel, and on the other hand, a large part of the party is not.
A large part of the party is the fucking crazy fucking far leftists.
Yeah.
But the idea that he's somehow not pro-Israel and Trump is weird, right? That's not true. It's just, I don't know. So it's like, oh, well, if you didn't like Jews, you should not vote for Trump. And I'm like, well, I mean, here's the reality. If you don't like Jews, they're probably both not for you.
Right.
And I mean, what else do you have? You got, what's that guy? Chase, the libertarian guy. He's the most progressive candidate in the race by far. His big issue is trans rights. So that's if you're big on trans rights, vote libertarian.
To me, the idea that fucking Joe Biden is fucking progressive at all is ridiculous.
He's not smart enough to really be anything.
Oh, I agree.
And I don't mean because he's old. I mean, he was like that before.
Yeah, he's always been a dumb fuck.
There were jokes in the fucking 70s about how dense Joe Biden is. That ain't new.
Well, Biden, there was a clip from him from the 90s, and someone commented that Biden reminds him a lot of Michael Scott from the Office, which Michael Scott's whole thing is he's basically like, the bit is that he is a dumbass boss. So yeah.
The bit is, I get the bit, is that he is the corpo progressive idiot, right? Because I know some of the theme on that show would be like he's trying to fight racism by saying racist ass shit that he doesn't realize is racist. I understand it. I mean, the show's not funny.
No, but that is
even worse acted.
Kind of like the Biden administration,
right? Yeah, the Biden administration is just The Office. Yeah,
and they've turned our fucking country into a fucking left.
Actually, no, hold on. The Biden administration has been much funnier than The Office.
You know, I can't even dispute that.
I mean, look, they had that. You heard about the tranny rapist, the one that showed their titties at the White House. Turns out that they raped a whole bunch of trans men, I guess is the word.
Or the guy that liked to steal shoes from airports.
It's a different guy, admittedly.
Right, I know, but same thing.
But this one in particular was the famous tranny that was showing their nipples at the White House event. It's come out the last week that let's just cut all the fucking bullshit since we're here on Rumble and we can speak freely. That man raped 5 women. Now, I know those women don't call themselves women, and I know that man doesn't call himself a man, but what happened was that man put his penis involuntarily into multiple women. This is who Joe Biden says is the face of decency in America, that they're the decent people. He brings rapists to the White House in drag. Fuck you and your decency.
And they still can't find out whose Coke it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, they know.
They know, but they'll never fucking tell us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Biden keeps claiming that he'll never pardon, that he won't pardon Hunter because his son isn't above the law.
That will be the last
bullshit.
official act they'll do.
No, it's because they gave it up. It's if you're a baseball guy, it's a sacrifice, right? You take the run because you take the out. That's all they did. Because it's a minor charge in the grand scheme of things, and he's not going to jail.
No, they got him for minor bullshit. Yeah, no, they should have.
If they were serious about prosecuting, Hunter Biden, and I've actually talked about this with like former military and federal people who I'm not going to name, but like they are in the author community. Hunter Biden should be going down for espionage, basically selling
just
state
fucking
secrets,
laptop alone is actual.
Let's just go with the simplest thing ever. Whenever his crack use gets brought up, they make him a victim, that he's a poor drug addict. Let's expand that logic for a second, Sam. Do they offer that to actual crack addicts on the street, or do they get caught with fucking crack and do 5 to 10 years on a felony charge, have their rights revoked, have their fucking firearm rights revoked, their voting rights revoked, all of that fucking shit for a little tiny fucking rock of crack that this dude fucking smokes casually in the White House? If you or I had that little tiny fucking butt of crack like he did, we'd be going 10 years. 10 fucking years. It's insane. And poor him. But where does that poor victim, they're just a victim of drug addiction, where does that apply to the actual, addicts on the fucking street who are dropping dead? We just had the guy from Crazy Town, who was big when I was a kid. He just dropped dead of a fucking overdose. It's every fucking day you hear somebody, like a famous person, dropping dead of an overdose. If you're in a city area or even a fucking suburban area, you probably know somebody in the course of the last 5 years that have died of an overdose. The drugs are running rampant through this country, and if we get caught with them, if you or I or any normal person gets caught with drugs, we get the fucking book thrown at us.
Well, we know that Kamala likes to lock.
I'm sorry, Sam. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, well, we know Kamala likes to lock up all the drug addicts.
Especially
that's like
she likes to lock up drug addicts and then not let an innocent man off a fucking death row until she's fucking forced to.
Yeah. So they want to talk about what's above the law or not. The DNC right now is in no position to tell anybody about that. Because I'll tell you right now, you have a bag of crack, you get caught by the cops, you are definitely getting felony charges. And you are definitely going to spend time in jail. It might not be the 5 or 10 years that you'll get charged with because you'll probably take a fucking plea deal. But still, you're going to jail for that one little bump of crack. The one little bump of crack that he just drops casually on the fucking sidewalk outside the fucking way. This man left a kilo of cocaine in the fucking Oval Office. Allegedly. Man, you know how fucking long you'd go away for a kilo? Insane. They want to talk about above the law. You could talk about Burisma, you could talk about Ukraine, you could talk about the prosecutors over there. You could talk about all of that shit, but for the average fucking person, the biggest reason you need to know that Hunter Biden is being above the law right now, and it's because his dad is president, is that if you got caught with a crack, if you got caught with an unlicensed gun, if you got caught with any of this fucking shit, there wouldn't be a question about whether you went to jail or not. There would be no fucking debate. You probably wouldn't even get to trial because they would tell you you're fucked and you would take the plea deal.
Forget all of Joe Biden's new shit in the last 10 years, the 94 fucking crime bill is enough to say, fuck Joe Biden, I'm not voting for him.
Right. Who besides, you count it because him and of course Bill Clinton famously signed it, so we can't immune him.
Right.
What piece of legislation has put more black people in prison than that? And if you actually look into the answer, there isn't one. There isn't one. That has put more black men specifically in jail than any law or any piece of legislation that has been passed in this country since its foundation. Unless you count slavery as incarceration. And even then, there are more people incarcerated now than were enslaved at the height of slavery. Think about that. More black men, I should say. There are more black men incarcerated in prison for a long sentence, which is up over a year, right? Than there were slaves in the entire country before the Civil War.
Well, I mean, the Democrats were the slave owners, so
still are.
They never got rid of slavery. They never. That's what I was going to say. They never got rid of slavery. They just figured out like a new way to,
it's brave new slavery. Yeah.
It's
like, we'll just put you in the ghetto, and if you fucking step out of line, we'll put you in jail, and make no mistake, they're using them for cheap labor.
Absolutely.
So, what's the difference?
When they broke up the family unit too. Like that's another thing. Like,
you talk about the black community in particular. There aren't very many dads in a lot of these inner city neighborhoods because they're in fucking jail. I mean. You hear about the baby mama stuff. That's more recent, but you go back to the 80s, in particular, the 80s and 90s. They took about half of all the fathers out of that community. What do you think's going to happen? And a lot of it was for like small time pot charges and dumb shit like that. It's wreaked havoc on the entire community, at least in the inner city blacks, right? Because like, there are blacks in this country that don't live in those conditions, and they kind of tend to have different outcomes. But if you look at the inner city in particular, that's just how it is, And if you have a couple of options as a young black man, right? But one, the obvious one is if you're smart, you study and you work, but you're at these schools, right? And they're not in good condition, and it's kind of crazy and hectic, and there's a lot of troublemaking kids and a lot of teachers that don't fucking care. So if you're smart, it's still a struggle to use that to better yourself, get an education, and get out of there. Next best thing you can maybe do, athletics, right? Get drafted, get into professional sports, football, basketball, whatever, right? That's a way out.
Mm-hmm.
But how many kids actually can make that dream happen? And the answer is it's less than 1%. And then another one is hip hop music. Like, so basically athlete and hip hop is basically the same because you're trying to become a celebrity, right? Again, how many people achieve that dream who try? Very few.
Less than 1% again.
Yeah. So what are you left with? Well, you try to get a job. Well, there ain't no factories in town. You might get in the service industry, right? That ain't a great job.
The military.
The military. That's why so many black people, especially in the South, just join right out of high school because it's a good career path, right? For somebody, they have access to it. That's kind of what I'm pointing out. In a lot of cases, they just don't have access to like the obvious, kind of life goals that you would if you didn't grow up in that environment. And there's white kids that grow up there too. That's how I know. I was one of them. But it's no, there's not a lot out there. It's like living in an inner city is like living in, like a barren wasteland in terms of economically. And so, gee, I wonder why so many of them turn to crime. Well, because life sucks. Life sucks day to day. Violence, I know like a lot of people that don't live in or never lived in an inner city don't understand, but violence is an everyday occurrence, right? Everyday occurrence. and doesn't seem like as big a deal. Everybody needs to eat. Everybody's poor, right? And also the gang offers you like camaraderie. It offers you brotherhood. It offers
security.
You security. Yeah, a lot of things, and status as well. Like little kids look up to the gangsters because the gangsters are in a weird way keeping them safe. It doesn't translate to a lot of people, but they are, at least the people there in their neighborhood are safe, and then they go to the other neighborhood and shoot shit up, and those kids aren't safe.
Right.
But
it's like the Italian mobsters when we were growing up.
Yeah. And it's a terrible place to fucking grow up, and I think that gets lost on a lot of people, that it is an awful place full of hopelessness. And even if you're that one bright, optimistic person that will work hard to get out of there, it's still really fucking hopeless before you get to that point. I mean, you look at the ones that do make it musically, what kind of music are they writing? Well, it's either about cheap material shit that they're happy to have that they didn't have growing up, or about how shitty it is to live there. You know? This is my favorite thing. What did you all think that the rappers have been lying about the conditions of the inner city for fucking 50 years? No. That's not how it is. It's gotten worse. If anything, they've stopped talking about the more serious aspects of it, like in the old days, you know, Ice Cube and Ice-T and NWA and Dr. Dre and all them.
Money, bitches, and hoes.
But they weren't that, right? They were like, like particularly Ice Cube and Ice-T were like anti-gangster.
Right.
And they were like, don't join gangs. That's especially Ice-T. He said it explicitly.
Yeah, and I'm more talking about what the subject is now.
It's all about superfluous material goods, right?
Yep.
And that includes the women, because the women in these situations are presented as objects too, right? The woman in the rap video, you don't hear about that she wrote, you know,
what a good mother she is.
Yeah, she's just there to be tits and ass, and that's it. And so she is an object, and that puts it into the category of materialism.
Right.
Unfortunately, you know, when you start thinking about, that woman does have a life, and there's a lot there that you probably don't know about, kind of ruins the whole point of her being the object in the video. But she's probably there for similar reasons, you know? God, if you're an attractive young woman from the ghetto, that's a way to make money. To show yourself off, or even say, I mean, that's why so many young women that grow up in those neighborhoods go right into sex work. Because again, that for them, that's status. They can get money. They can be, they don't have to work really. I mean, say, you know, besides having sex with people.
For a night?
It's not like they have to do paperwork at the fucking 7-Eleven or something. So it seems more appealing to them. Maybe not all of them get there because it's appealing, but they get there, you know, and it's shitty. And then you come up with situations like one we've mentioned before with a friend of the show, Sictanic, and his mom, who then nobody gave a fuck about her when she was murdered brutally. And I mean, when I say nobody, I mean the law enforcement whose fucking job it was. You know? Oh, well, they don't matter because they're from the ghetto. You wonder why people from those areas feel like they're less than you. It's because they get treated by the system as such. They're already treated like they're outlaws and animals. Is it a stretch?
Yeah, and then like from what I've talked with like FX Reagan and other people who are good cops, the problem is it's not just the like average street cop who wants to help. It's the bureaucracy of the police who.
There's a couple problems. Yeah, the administration is one of the biggest ones, right? You're spot on there.
Yeah, the administration just for and granted, yeah, there are bad cops, but like I've also talked to cops who do want to help. You know,
a lot
do
of
want
cops
to
are
help
just
in like
jaded.
inner cities.
A lot of these inner city
Yeah.
cops are just fucking like, it's every day. Nothing gets better. And look, you know, the thing about being a cop, I don't think people realize is, imagine going into a domestic violence situation, right? You're just going to walk into a domestic violence situation. Now imagine that you do that 6 times a night. That'll wear on your heart.
Well,
and then imagine that almost every one of these cases, you know, that the woman, let's just say in this case, has been hit. You know it for a fact, like, you know, it's obvious. But she says, "Nuh-uh." And there's nothing you can do except get called back tomorrow night when they get in a fight again.
Yep.
That will ruin you. And over time,
yeah.
that will fucking destroy you. And then to add to that fact that half or more of these people are going to have children present when this is going on. And not to mention all the other horrific things. I'm just specifically now, because the most common call a beat cop gets is domestic violence, period. Right?
And not just that, but like this is something like, just to kind of like relate it to the whole thing with the Recadas, like people are making a big deal out of the fact that I guess the 9-year-old got into cocaine, which like that is a big deal. But like some of the retired cops I know are like, yeah. And I saw that like every night when I was in the hood, like kids.
I mean,
yeah,
look,
that's
the Recaida story is terrible to me, right? But it's actually a lot more common than people would like to think. The only thing that makes it unique is, one, his internet celebrity or whatever you want to call it status, and two, the fact that it was a upper middle class white family rather than, I guarantee you, if they worked in a hard neighborhood, they saw that shit every fucking day.
Yep.
Every fucking
and
neglect
that's what,
and abuse of kids that not, you just ignore the drugs, right? For a second, kids that, you know, they haven't had a proper meal and their clothes are dirty and their house is dirty and the parents are bringing, you know, unsafe people around them all the time. I mean, this is like, that's a cop's going to see that every day.
And that's why a lot of the people I know who work in like law enforcement are like, oh, you know, they're just kind of like, oh, that's cute. The you know, the internet is freaking out about something that I saw every day for, you know, 30 years.
And that's what was weird to me. Is like my initial speculation when I saw that was like, he probably left little bits of it out and the 9-year-old found it. And the thing about cocaine, I've never done it. Not even like put it on my mouth. But I had a lot of friends that did it. And the thing about cocaine is it numbs your mouth. Now, if you're a little child and you fucking find this powder and it numbs your mouth, it's a novel feeling.
Yep.
Right? And so like next time you find a little bit of that powder, you're probably just because it's a child. Which, I mean, my only comment on that whole thing was like, don't leave drugs out around your children. Period. Like, obviously, right? Because they will get into it.
Yeah.
And I'm, you know,
drugs. Drugs or firearms.
There you go, firearms as well. They made it seem, you know, like, oh, wow. They almost made it seem like the internet people, that they were force feeding this child cocaine. And if you know these kind of situations at all, that's the least likely outcome, especially if it's only one of the kids. But the more likely outcome is that they're grossly irresponsible, because that almost every drug addicted parent is. You know,
I've heard that like they were force feeding the kids, but I've also heard the Cope conspiracy from Recaita's fans that like that the deep state is going after Recaita just like they did with Alex Jones because I like him.
so he can't
what
be the
influence did fucking Rekieta have? Come on.
Well, I mean, look, those are some of those same people were saying, "Oh yeah, she just got a little cocaine in her hair." That's not how the fucking test works. Then they're like, well, then it must be planted evidence, and it's like, oh man, all right. How do you even like? You don't talk like I don't know. I stopped arguing with people I consider retarded on Twitter. That's why you don't catch me in those Krasenstein arguments, because I'm pretty sure they're retarded.
Oh, they're absolutely retarded. I just want the fucking retards to actually fucking respond.
Fair enough. Hey, to each their own. Sam, I'll tell you what I've been doing. I'm pulling out my tents and coolers and getting ready to go off in the woods for a week.
And I'll tell you why I want those two specifically to respond there, Max, is I've never seen them actually respond to quote-unquote intelligent points. They just respond to people that they can dunk on.
Which is, smart.
Well,
to give them the credit, it's smart not to purposely get yourself owned.
Well, like more. I hope you're not holding your breath, because if you do hold your breath, if you do hold your breath, then you might actually get like cerebral palsy from brain damage, and that would suck doubly for you.
No, if I get lucky, I get lucky. Am I holding my breath? Fuck no. I just want to own one of them at least once.
But yeah, I think like the Occam's razor of the Rekieta situation is probably irresponsible drug addict. It's really not that complicated, I don't think.
Yeah, right.
We all knew he had the problem. Anybody who knew anything about him has known that he's had a problem. A lot of people just assumed just alcohol.
Well, it's the same thing with Ethan Ralph, right? Like the only reason why, the whole Ethan Ralph thing is so outlandish is because he's internet famous. But there are plenty of redneck assholes like him.
He is guy at the trailer park in every trailer park in America. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Ethan Ralph or worse in every trailer park in America. Like, I guarantee you find a guy that's as bad or worse than him. Difference being they don't have an internet show where people knew who they were. That's the only difference. I feel like a lot of the internet is very fucking insulated from, like, reality. Like, a lot of these people, like, the idea that...
Yeah, that...
You see what I'm saying?
That's what I. No, I do. I really do realize. I'm like, wow, like these people are really isolated. Meanwhile, like you and I are talking to like actual people who like are doing stuff like out there in the real
and have experience, because in the real world can kick you fucking hard, man.
Yep.
That's the real world. I know everybody wants to live in their internet safe world where nobody ever gets unalived, but like I've watched people murdered.
And look
I think I told that story, Sam. I witnessed a drive-by shooting in Detroit. I'm pretty sure I told that story on the show.
Almost positive, because I seem to remember it a little bit.
Yeah. That's reality. Yeah. That's fucking reality. I watched a man bleed out 25 feet away from me and could do nothing but wait until the car was gone, because I'm sitting. I was out on the porch smoking a blunt. Yes, that was illegal. Whatever, fuck it. And I'm just sitting there, and the guy across the street comes out. Car comes flailing by. They pull all these guns out the window. I'm telling you, they are the most ghetto-looking guns you've ever seen. Fucking duct tape and shit. Unloaded on this guy, and he just was like. He was looking down at him being shot, and then he collapsed. And then I'm sitting there, like, don't see me, don't see me, don't see me, don't see me, don't see me. I put the blunt out so they might not smell it, you know what I mean? Like, oh, shit. But I'm not going to jump up and go in the house, right? Because I'm not making... So I just waited. They pulled off. I just casually walked inside. One of my roommates was like, bro, what the fuck just happened out there? I was like, just a drive-by. I'm going to call the cops. I asked the cops. They asked me for descriptions. What the fuck am I gonna tell them? They were all wearing bandanas and okay, they were black. That's about the most you could get out of me. There was 4 black guys in a car. Well, at least 3 of them were black. I think the 4th might have been Hispanic or white. There you go, cops. Go find them. And the cops are like, this is Detroit. We ain't even gonna look. They didn't say that, but they don't. They're not even gonna look.
Right.
Because that's Detroit.
Yeah.
They don't actually have the funding to respond to crimes that don't have a body in downtown Detroit. Did you know that?
I did not.
I should get it, and we should call it on the air sometime. But if you call the Detroit Police Department, it specifically tells you that we're not going to respond to any crime that isn't, a dead body. They tell you that on the phone. Like it's a recording that everybody has to hear when they call the Detroit Metro.
Wow, that's
Democrats bankrupted that city so bad. Half the downtown is policed by private security firms. There's a private security firm, okay, where the guy will take you from your home through the ghetto part of town in an armored car to your work. That service exists in Detroit because there's no police. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's like people don't understand how safe most places are for them in this country. When you go to a lawless place like Detroit or Chicago is at least they have the same problem, but they're just not as open about it. Like Detroit's just like, hey, we can't do it. Chicago can't either, but they pretend like they can.
My paternal grandparents, who I've talked about before on the show, they both passed. Now George and Maxine, when they lived in northern Michigan after they retired, and I remember like my grandfather had to go in for surgery for his heart, and it was like some specific procedure. He had the option of either going to Detroit or going to Wisconsin for this procedure. Guess where he chose to go?
Which is much farther away for reference, right? Like it would probably be like Madison, Wisconsin. Yeah. That's like twice as far away. I would too, though.
Yeah.
Detroit.
Yeah. No,
I love Detroit. Okay, I do. But it's
so does he.
It's hurting. It's hurting bad, and like what aggravates me about the right. Okay, you want to know what really gets my goat about the fucking right? Is taking enjoyment in watching cities like that die just because it's based on fucking policies that they don't support. Because, you voted for this. But, like, a lot of them didn't. Most of them don't vote. Most people on that level of the economic ladder, if they do vote, it's because somebody gave them something. You think they want to stand in line all day to vote for people who are going to fuck them over either way? Most of those people hate the government, period. It's not about Democrats or Republicans. And they're suffering, man. These cities that are falling apart, we shouldn't be gloating about their suffering because that's not how you're going to win those people over. We should be offering, like Trump, or specifically like Dr. Ben Carson, offering alternatives. The opportunity zones was fucking great for a lot of these inner cities. It got young men jobs that otherwise they wouldn't have gotten because it gave them a tax break. Yeah, it might not be the biggest thing in the world, but a tax break can create many jobs.
Yeah, the fact that and we covered this a few.
We're all Americans. Those people that you fucking not you, Sam, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but those people that you're like, oh, those animals in the ghetto, those are your fellow Americans, motherfucker.
Yeah.
If we're just gonna flush certain categories of people down the fucking shitter, I can think of a couple of groups of people that would come even before that. Let's start with the pedophiles. Get rid of all of them.
Well, no. We don't want to get rid of those people. In fact, we want to add those to the alphabet of like.
Well, yeah, we're never going to convince the government to get rid of pedophiles when most of them were pedophiles.
Right. And they won't even give us the fucking Epstein list.
Oh, I got the other one, Sam. Since we're on Law and Order and what it's like in a fucking city, I got a news article, somewhat local. It's a Rhode Island article. So, I mean...
Yeah, let's dive into that.
There's 3 major cities in Rhode Island, and by most accounts, you would only consider there is one, which is Providence. But the other 2 kind of minor cities in the state would mainly be Warwick and Pawtucket, which is where this happened. I grew up near Pawtucket. Used to go and watch the Pawtucket Red Sox play minor league baseball team at McCoy Stadium. It's a nice mid-sized town, or it was. But not so much anymore. It's been hit really hard with the immigration stick the last couple of years, and crime has gotten pretty bad. And so I want to shout out to a local hero. A Pawtucket liquor store owner who was acquitted of assault on a customer because that customer was trying to rob him, and all charges were now dropped. So
he was defending himself in his store.
Yeah. I saw, and I have actually gone to this store, and I've seen this guy before. Oh, okay. I got a notification that there's going to be a thunderstorm. Anyway, Hector Lopez is his name. He has worked at the Dexter Warehouse Liquor Store, which I have gone to. It's one of the bigger liquor stores in the area. And so they charged him with felony assault, disorderly conduct, right? And he opted for a bench trial. If anybody knows what that means, that's no jury. That means you're putting it up to the judge. And the judge concluded that the state has failed to prove that Lopez had not acted in self-defense as required to convict someone after self-defense arguments are raised. That's how it... If you say, I was acting in self-defense in Rhode Island specifically, they have to prove you weren't.
Good.
And so Hector... I mean, if you watch the video, he clearly is defending himself. The guy pulled a gun on him, and then he just swatted the gun away and hit him. It's hard to see because where the camera is, but that's what it looks like. So according to the ruling, Wilson Mortaya, 28, of Central Falls, by the way, illegal. Just so you know, I know that the name Wilson wouldn't necessarily suggest that, but he is an illegal from Guatemala, I believe. He entered 256 Barton Street liquor store at 11 a.m. October 3rd, 2021 to buy a 12-pack of Modelo. Lopez, the store owner, came out from behind the counter, stood in front of him, and was, quote, mean to him. Well, probably. Here's my counter argument. You were looking mad suspicious in that video, and he's the store owner. He wants to make sure you're not robbing him. And then at some point, a weapon was pulled. There was a scuffle, and Moretaya ends up beat to shit. He tried to claim he couldn't remember whether he was drunk or not.
I mean, he's going to the liquor store at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Totally not drunk.
He also had no memory of being found drunk on the sidewalk by police earlier that same day after an apparent assault by an unknown person. So, I mean, basically, even in Rhode Island, you can still stand up for law and order.
Good.
And, so big shout out to Hector Lopez, local hero. Yes, he has every right to defend his store from thieves and criminals and lowlifes. And I'm glad that he's home tonight with his family. He's a 50-year-old grandfather. So big shout out to Hector Lopez. Congratulations, Hector. And now you need to sue for false arrest.
I agree.
That is actually somewhat of a positive story, which is good because tonight's show has, it's kind of been a bit heavy. Before we get into too much more, though, I do want to promo.
Shout out to Joe in chat. It says in MA that they don't allow us to call the cops for store theft.
No, that's true. And I think that's true in Rhode Island as well. But this case kind of, because it wasn't about property theft, it was about assault. That's probably why it made it to the case. But yeah, Joe's right. Massachusetts, I think it's under $500 worth of merchandise that a lot of it's not state policy. I want to be clear about that. But a lot of stores have taken the policy that they refuse to call the cops for what they call quote unquote petty shoplifting.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah. It's not a law like it is in California. But it is, I mean, a lot of these business owners are liberals, right? And so they're told that if you call the cops, you're a racist or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's a little worse in like the cityfied areas. Like I'm out in the burbs, but yeah. Pawtucket's one of those cityfied areas. It's not a huge city, but it's He said, I fell asleep for 5 minutes a couple times and got suspended for stealing company time. Jeez, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's why you always got to make sure when you got to take a shit, it better be on the company dime.
Right.
Oh, yeah, there's a big debate tomorrow, Sam. So I think we can cover the debate real quick. Does anybody here or in chat think that it will change one person's vote, the debate tomorrow? One person in all of America, do you think is going to be swayed by this debate? Because I don't. Which means that I don't care to watch it. It'll be interesting to watch the highlights, but I'm not going to sit there and watch the debate because it's literally pointless.
To me, the most interesting part of the debate is how much CNN is going to be fucking around with Trump.
Did you see that they have they have microphones that are going to lock him out?
Yep.
It's insane. They don't realize how stacking the deck against him looks at all. Like, I can't believe
they realize it. They just don't give a fuck.
No, I think they're actually oblivious at this point. At first I thought that, but like, no, they think that. I think they think the majority agrees with them.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, because they live in their own bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And
they think that anyone million is gonna fucking happen again.
I will actually be watching the debate. I'll be joining Joe's Atmosphere, which he's another channel here on Rumble. He asked me to join his panel. I told him I had no interest in watching the debate, really, but because he invited me on, I would come on. So tune over there to see how long.
With all those Republican debates, we really tried watching and doing that, like the grifter thing where they all have to watch it. And it's just like, man, were we ever bored? The only thing of note that came out of any of those debates was fucking Secret Agent, man, and that had nothing to do with the fucking debate.
Well, and he might be there on the stream I'm in tomorrow. So like, I might see if I could get him off.
Ask him if he's orchestrated any CIA coups lately. This fucking guy.
Well,
I will also not be watching the debate tomorrow. I'll be on phones at 9 p.m.
Oh yeah, 9 p.m. Bits and Bones. I am leaving Sunday to go camping, but we will have a Sandwich Makers broadcast Saturday night regardless. So
Nice.
Well, yeah, so that is what I want to say though, is like I will be on Joe's stream, but I might not be on there the whole time if the debate gets like too boring for me.
I got bigger and better
Because-
things to worry about, Sam. I got my hatchet. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's
Yeah,
cut down some fucking
also-
trees, baby. Let's light some fire and have some burgers and read the Fourth Estate.
Yes, read the Fourth Estate. I will be I've got a 4th of July sale coming up for the ebook actually.
Nice.
I will be discounting both books for the 4th of July, so I'll post about that on Twitter as the holiday approaches. So stay tuned for that. Also, I want to thank the
What are you
audience
doing for the 4th, Sammy? I know I'll be camping out in the woods. What do you got planned? You gonna go take in some fireworks, eat some good cookout?
Yeah, I'm gonna be watching fireworks by the bay, just like I
Nice.
do every year, and and clog my arteries with some southern fried chicken because why not?
Because it's delicious. That's why.
Yeah, probably drink some Yingling. So and maybe some Jack Daniels too. So
Yeah. Morpheus, any plans?
and
Well, it's a Thursday night, so I'm not sure if the boys are gonna want to do a show for Bits and Bones that night. But offhand, I don't really have any plans, so I'm open to doing a show if the guys are. But I don't have anything on the 4th, but on the 6th, my oldest little brother is getting married, so I'll be busy.
Oh, congrats!
The following weekend. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, good positive family occasions always a blessing, right?
Absolutely.
so and then shout out to Eric Bishop. Breach of Trust has reached number 14 on the new releases.
That's awesome.
Category for
and man, he's hit up so many podcasts, and you were his was the first, obviously, but man, on this promotion tour, it's crazy how much time he gave to us. I was very grateful for that. That was a great, fun episode.
Yeah, and we were happy to help him out too. Well, I hope we did at least. I hope people watched that episode, and then
I'm waiting on my copy. So
I've got my ebook I've got my ebook, and now I'm waiting for my signed print copy.
Yeah.
So
the big beta reader, huh?
Well, that's why they pay me big bucks for that.
Yeah.
For that. So
now, and for anybody out there, don't let them bully you into not enjoying the 4th of July. Wear your fucking patriotic shirt. My son got me this one for Father's Day. I love it.
That's awesome.
Anything with red, white, and blue and eagles and patriotism he associates with me, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
That is the most awesome thing ever.
Don't let liberals even factor into how you celebrate. That's the key. Because if you start trying to react to them, it gets ugly. Just go have yourself a fucking fun. Have some drinks.
Yeah.
Grill up some burgers. Watch some fireworks. Listen to some fucking patriotic music, and just don't let them ruin it. Because you know what? Pro tip.
They're gonna try.
Pro tip: all the black people where I live, they do that too. So when they claim that it's like a white person thing, I don't know. Have they ever met black people? Because a lot of black people love this country a lot,
right? And person that I've never met loves this country.
Same here. Here's an interesting.
You don't have to love the people in charge to love the country. For fuck's sake.
Love what the fucking country's supposed to stand for.
Here is an interesting thing though, Max, and I am curious about this. Like, I have no objection to Juneteenth personally, but like
I love it.
none of the. But
I love Juneteenth. No, the fact that we should celebrate freeing the slaves. There should be a day set aside for freeing the fucking slaves. Anybody that doesn't think that doesn't understand the significance of it. Doesn't understand how many men died on either side over this, right? Doesn't understand what freedom fucking means, because we didn't have. I'm sorry that maybe this sounds like a leftist fucking talking point, but we did not have a free country until we got rid of slavery. Period.
Agreed.
Well, and I do agree with that. What's interesting?
The politicization of it is disgusting, but the holiday itself is actually, I think, really cool.
Well, what is interesting to me though, Max, is like, and granted, this could just be a Florida thing, but like most of the black people that I know here, except for like the young ones my age, they don't really celebrate June.
No, nobody did. But it's new
but
to
they
celebrate.
They love 4th of July.
Yeah.
They
celebrated here where I'm at, a lot of the black people, for the first time a Juneteenth, because now it's a federal holiday and they got it off. Are we gonna have a cookout? Fuck yeah, right? Like, we got a day off. It's a fucking good. They like the holiday. I like the holiday. Hey man, I had some good eating that day. Hoo boy. Oh man, they had some good food. Yeah, and they're gonna have a 4th of July party too, because they're two different things. It's not what I think you're getting at is the people calling it Black Independence Day. But it's not. Independence Day is the 4th of July. But to celebrate the day that we ended, human chattel slavery, I think that's pretty cool.
Ironic.
Just remember that we don't do that anymore. Isn't that a good thing? I guess some people don't.
Yeah, and like a lot of. Well, and my black neighbors, they were hilarious about it, because they're like, yeah, we celebrate Juneteenth, but we don't have enough money to celebrate, to throw a thing for both. So like, we'll just save the money for the 4th of July, celebration and do it up then.
Well, a lot of these guys get disposable income, and they're like, "Oh shit, extra weekend cookout this summer, let's go." Wasn't even like, "Oh, we're gonna have our black holiday." Of course, they invited all the white people in the neighborhood. Like, are you fucking like, what world do people live in where they can't interact with people normally? I don't understand. They live in the internet world, I guess.
My favorite thing is like when they try to claim that like liking watermelon and fried chicken is like an exclusively black stereotype. It's like, have you had watermelon? It's fucking good. And have you had fried chicken? It's really good.
I mean,
yes, even grape soda is
fucking good.
Good on it.
I mean,
and I'm like,
fried chicken is fucking delicious, and that is like, of course, black people like it. So do I. Right? Like,
yeah.
There's definitely like ethnically black American foods, and they had some of them shits at the fucking cookout, and it was delicious, right? But watermelon and fried chicken wasn't on the menu at the black cookout. Actually, no, I take that back. They both were. But they were also on the menu at my cookout. Am I black?
Yeah.
I'll say, does that make you half black?
No, I think it's just that fried chicken's universal.
Agreed.
Well, I'm definitely black where it matters, Max. In my soul.
That's a little TMI.
Criminal record. No. Sorry.
Well, I am voting for a convicted felon, so
there you go.
So we're we're all criminals now. We're all criminals now, Max. So
hey, I told you about the outlaw effect. I wasn't kidding. You know, the outlaw effect, of course, you know, to explain if you haven't heard me give this before, marijuana as a gateway drug, there's different theories on it. I think that it is in a sense, but it's mostly had to do with the fact that it was illegal because I'm already breaking the law. Makes it a lot easier to break another law, especially when you smoke the pot and you realize, wait a minute, this didn't make me have schizophrenia and go on an axe murder spree.
This feels good.
In fact, it didn't do much except make me hungry and laugh. Maybe they're lying.
And take away my pain.
And they're like, yeah, well, you know, all this other stuff's bad too. And it's like, I ain't gonna fucking trust you. You told me this shit was bad.
I don't know if this is the same for Sammy, but almost nothing that I've almost ever prescribed drops my pain level to a 0. Guess what drops me to a fucking 0? Motherfucking pot.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that.
I don't. Fortunately, like I don't deal with pain, which I'm very blessed with. But I can tell you that for me, like the first time I smoked pot, like I felt like I didn't have spasticity or anything. I felt normal. I didn't feel high. I just was like, oh, okay, this is what it feels. This is like what feeling normal feels like, I guess.
Well, long story short, I have 2 metal rods and 8 screws in my back. I am a fucking lightning rod, literally.
Mm.
Yeah.
I've been losing it because I got arthritis in my hip. And it's probably not nowhere near as painful. But, you know, I do run like 30 miles a week,
right.
So it kind of sucks.
Well,
I'm like, no, God, I woke up and my hip hurt, and I'm like, oh, God, it's going to rain. And then I'm like, oh, my God, how old am I? I just used my arthritis to predict the weather. I must be ancient.
Well, that is also like why.
Max, every so often I'll mention, like I just did to you, gentlemen, that I have literally every day, every minute pain, and they're like, "Hey, Mort, why don't you bitch about it?" Because it's literally part of my life.
Because it's normal, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember talking about this with Sam, like some of the first episodes. Somebody had said something about it, and I'm like, or no, somebody was telling me, oh, isn't it so funny when Sam crawls to get? It was like the old audience we used to have that a lot of them, I would argue, didn't even really like Sam very much, because they were making fun of him. Don't know where those people came from. They went away quick though, because I'm like, well, he doesn't care. Clearly, because that's just how he normally gets around. Like, what's he supposed to do? Spend fucking 20 minutes to try and get to the other room? Fuck you. It's not weird. It's only weird because you have...
You make it weird.
Yeah, you have an ability to not have to fucking do that.
You
right. Well, I mean,
that's how he goes, right? And he's fucking fast. I've seen it.
I mean,
it's not like he doesn't get moving.
I mean, I get it. It looks weird, and it even looks comedic at times too. I get it, but like I'm well aware of that. But like I'm also like at the point where like I don't give a fuck. And also in regards to that, like I was telling Max and Mort today, I actually got fitted for hopefully a custom manual wheelchair.
That's awesome.
Because like I'm overdue, and also like my physical therapist basically like told me that if I keep crawling everywhere, like specifically on hardwood, like I'm gonna lose what cartilage I have left.
Yep.
And yeah, I do deal with hip pain. My my knees are still good, but they're not going to be for much longer if I keep abusing them.
Hey man,
So
can relate as a big guy who runs a lot. Like I have to be super careful on my knees because if I fuck them up, I ain't standing up anymore. That's for sure.
yeah, my stepdad was a carpenter, and he had to retire at like 65 from carpentry just because his doctor said, if you continue, like your knees are going to be shot, and then you'll end up in a chair too. So
yeah, I'm super careful about it with my knees. I have special shoes, and I use I go through a lot of precautions to make sure that I'm as easy on my knees as possible. The downside is I need to keep doing my cardio. I can't stop or I'll die. But so it's like a trade-off. Is like eventually my knees are gonna give out, but I'd rather that than my heart, I guess.
So what you're saying is we can't howl
one people laugh because like I'm only 29, but I take glucosamine, and glucosamine is for old people apparently. But no, like at pro tip for the athletes out there, like the athletes should take glucose even if they're young, because
a lot of supplements have that in it. Yeah, you're right.
If your joints go while you're young, you're gonna end up in a worse spot than either. You're gonna end up in a worse position than either Mort or I.
Yeah, like, because more you were. It's like the fucking Bane meme, right?
We were born into this. We know how to deal with it.
Yeah. No, it would be like that's what I kind of think about is like, man, let's say I fuck my knees up. Could I adapt? The way that as I think about this now, because I have two friends like this, could I adapt like them? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. I would be miserable. I would not do well. I would not have as positive of fucking attitude.
Little inside baseball for me personally. If I did not have guitar and music, I would be a miserable fucking bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, and that's same for me in podcasting. Honestly,
and I don't mean this as a derogatory fuck to anybody that is religious, but to me, music and guitar is my religion because of what it's helped me through.
Right on. Hey man, I'm right there with you. Music is as core to my personality as like anything, right? It's that's how I get through everything. It's funny because I'll often bring up like song lyrics and things. I'm sure you guys have seen in conversation. And it amazes me how little meaning other people put on, music compared to the way I look at it. It's I'm a nerd.
At some point, I'm gonna have to take a picture of this and put it on my Twitter. But probably a good 7 or 8 years ago now, my sister made me this really cool sign, and it says, "Where words fail, music speaks."
Yeah,
I've seen a sign like that actually. So, yeah, I mean, I don't, whatever works for you, man. So I mean, that's why, like, even though I am a Christian, like, I don't get too preachy about it because, like, A, I'm not by the book on it, and B, like, I think God uses different mediums to reach out to people.
Absolutely.
Personally.
Well, I mean, here's my position in life, right, Sam? I'm never going to be able to reach out to the holy roller types, like the really ultra religious types. But I think that I have an ability to reach out to a lot of people that get left behind in a lot of ways, and I've always had that. I've always tried to talk to people and listen to where they're coming from. It's tough.
No,
The
whole.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I've never liked the Holy Roller crowd because like I've literally been told that the reason why I have cerebral palsy is because I was born out of wedlock, and that to me is like that's pretty disgusting. Well, that's pretty disgusting and despicable because they're like, hey, we're pro-life, but also like we're pro-life, but also you got this because your parents, had premarital sex, and it's like, well, my mother had like 2 miscarriages beforehand in her first marriage. I was an accident. So
if that's the case, how do you explain me, my mom, and my jackass?
I believe the word you're looking for isn't accident, Sam. I believe what you're looking for is miracle.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But yeah,
we're married.
Well, according to
I don't know. I mean, there's people that are like extremely very religious that I don't, that I don't have any problem with it, per se. They're not the holy rollers trying to get in everybody's life kind of stuff. But I'm not.
Uh-oh.
I think we lost Max.
I think we did too.
Yep, and there he goes.
Well, the religious right got Max, I guess.
They smited Max off the show.
So. But no, like I that's what I was gonna say. Like in regards to my interview with Karina, like the only people who really didn't like it were the holy roller types, and then like the far lefties who don't like that she likes Trump, which I mean that's stupid. So
and that's the thing with all these lefties that hate a bunch of things that the fucking left does. I bring up fucking 94 fucking crime bill that a lot of the left suffer under, yet somehow they're still gonna fucking vote for fucking Biden.
Well, I've noticed that like the far left and the far right are aligned on a lot of things.
Oh, absolutely.
Interestingly, like they okay. Oh yeah, that explains well, that would explain a lot then.
So God literally did smite Max.
Well, he did say that they were getting a thunderstorm in the area,
right?
So, but yeah, I I think the reason why this show and why Right to Offend is good is we don't necessarily adhere to any one ideological dogma specifically. And the other thing too, like specifically with Bits and Bones, is I've noticed that a lot of gaming channels, they just do nonstop like outrage bait with like a lot of the gaming stuff, but like you guys don't do that.
Right. We'll mention the DEI stuff, and then we'll look forward to the games that
like. Well, like I do have a question. Morpheus, sure. Have you even played Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League yet?
I have not.
Do you plan on it?
No, because it's hashtag dead game.
Right. That's kind of that's my point though. Is like I'm not planning on playing either, but a lot of these like gaming channels out there, they make not like even though they all claim to hate Suicide Squad,
They all play the fucking thing.
they make like they play the fucking thing just so that they can make videos on like how much it sucks, and it's like and it's like instead of doing that,
I try to be very selective with the games that I put my money towards. I try to not be a hypocrite. I try to put the money where I think where games deserve it. Like I'm really excited for the upcoming Black Myth Wukong. It's uh, uh, based on like Chinese mythology, Journey to the East, or Journey to the West, with the Monkey King.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's a Souls-like
I've
game.
heard that. Yeah, I just listen. If I'm going to play a game, like that's going to be like time I'm investing in. So I want to make sure that I enjoy it, like at least somewhat.
Oh, absolutely.
So
And like right now, I'm literally playing Elden Ring. Yeah, the game's fucking infuriating. But when I actually beat the damn boss, I'm good.
yeah, I've I've still not played. Well, I mean, I have played Elden Ring, but like I haven't gotten very far in it at all. So, in fact, like on my gaming YouTube channel, like I do have footage of me playing Elden Ring, and I suck at it.
Yeah, I absolutely suck at it. But
So,
when I actually figure out a boss, like right now, I'm at Renala. I'm just getting to the point where I can finish off her second phase.
so
Because I'm just not used to I'm not used to Souls games. I'm just not.
do you like Tomb Raider at all, or
I remember playing some of the old school ones back in the day, but I don't have any real affinity towards them.
yeah, neither do I. I was just
I had more affinity towards the GoldenEye.
Dude, GoldenEye is still like one of the best games out there, and one of the best Bond movies out there too. For my money. So really, like as far as gaming, like I can't think of anything that like I'm really looking forward to.
And
At least as far as like.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say at least as far as like double or triple A.
The other game that I'm pretty excited for, as well as one of the co-hosts on Bits and Bones on Thursdays, Core, he showed me a technical test for a game called The First Descendant, and it's like a squad-based, almost like Destiny style game. It's fun as hell. Free to play. Comes out on the 2nd.
Cool.
So I'll probably pick that up because it's free.
Yeah. Well, that's always good. Is it like a 3D game or?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's fully realized 3D drop in drop out squad game, a lot like Destiny 2.
Is it one of those like is it one of those loot box games? Because
it
like,
didn't appear to be in the technical test, but they've got to make money somehow, given that it's a free to play. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that.
Yeah. Well, like I don't necessarily like have a problem with loot box mechanics if they're reasonable.
Right.
But like
and
some of them are so like astronomically stupid. It's like, okay, why not just charge, for the game once, right?
And honestly, what I'm
So-
hoping, again, don't know any information as far as this part of the game goes right now, but I'm hoping like they charge for like skins and shit that don't have any real gameplay affecting bonuses or anything. That stuff I'm fine with. It's when you're selling powers when I have an issue.
Yeah, or selling like weapons packs, which is what like Call of Duty was doing. So, anyway, though, well, also, Julian Assange is free.
Yeah, I saw that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like if he stays alive.
Right.
If they don't try and kill him.
Right. I heard they immediately got him on a plane back to Australia.
Yeah, that's good. So
get him back on his home soil. Get him back with his wife and kids.
Yeah. But anyway, well, do you have anything else or
just if you nothing nothing that I can think of, but if you want to hear my hashtag Mort rants, join me, Core, and Tim tomorrow night, Bits and Bones at 9 p.m. EST.
Yeah, I don't even know what time the debate is, but like I said, I'll be on Joe's Atmosphere channel tomorrow, and I'll link that once I have more information on that. And if not, like I might actually pop in on Bits and Bones. So
that'd be cool.
If the debate gets too boring, so and
we've got sandwich makers on Saturday evening.
Yeah, and then after that we'll be off for the 4th of July. So yeah, should be pretty interesting. And then July we'll have some more guests, I'm thinking. So that should be interesting. So but anyway, well, we hope everyone has a good 4th of July and a good Independence Day. We hope Max gets his power back. And I think we've got everything covered. I'm Sam Whitfield, and the disembodied voice is Morpheus. And, from all of us here at NGC, from all of us here at Right to Offend Media, have a good rest of your evening, and happy 4th of July, and please be nice to your kitten overlords.
Happy 4th.
Happy 4th, everyone, and have a good evening, everyone.
Thanks for listening to The Whitfield Report on the NGC Network. Please visit Sam's website at Thanks for listening to The Whitfield Report on the NGC Network. Please visit Sam's website at www.thesamwhitfield.com and support Sam on Patreon at patreon.com/Whitfield Report. Until next time, God bless. God save this great nation, and God, freedom, legacy, in that order.